Welcome back for another episode of the Office Hours Podcast with Professor Brad Perkins. Today in the studio, I have, a guest lecturer for scheduling. What's the term? Head scheduler? Master scheduler? What?
Regional scheduling manager.
Regional scheduling manager for JE Dunn, the man with the best Con E name of all time, Schwinghammer. All right, so Mr. Schwinghammer, if you care to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, we'll get this podcast started.
All right. Like Brad said, I'm Brandon Schwinghammer. I graduated from Connie in 2013.
Yeah, 2013. So, 12 years now. You're a dozen years out.
Back before you had gray hair.
Back before I had, that was just mean. Wait, are we going to talk hair? Do we want to talk hair?
I had this hair in college.
Well,
too,
that's true.
so.
You did. That's a good point. That's a good point. Okay, but at least I have some hair. But you're right. Back then it wasn't gray, was it?
No, it was not.
Oh man. Okay, so I didn't have gray hair back then. Keep going.
I bounced around a few GCs starting out my career, and then I ended up at JE Dunn about 8 years ago. I've done my whole career as scheduling. My first job was probably $2 billion project.
$2 billion schedule?
Yep.
That must have taken a minute.
Yeah, we had 5 full-time schedulers on that project, so it was a really good...
That's all they did every day?
Yep.
There you go. That's all they did every day was just scheduling.
Yep. There's 5 of us that just scheduled the entire time. So we broke it up into areas. So we had the tank farm, which me being the most junior scheduler.
Okay, hold on a second. So what tank farm? Okay. Help me out here. What kind of project was this?
It was the fertilizer plant down in Weaver, Iowa.
Oh, okay. Oh, the fertilizer plant.
Yep.
Okay. So all right. So I get it now.
A big fertilizer plant, greenfield facility. Being the most junior scheduler, I had the tank farm, which was pretty easy. And it's just 6 or 7 large tanks. And then we had other areas that were broken out with other schedulers. And then we had a scheduling manager at the time that oversaw all of us. That's where I learned to schedule. It was a really good project for me because there was more senior people there and they could teach me how to schedule, and I wasn't just on a project by myself.
Okay. All right.
So we have a bunch of mission critical jobs for JE Dunn right now, and I always tell people, go to those jobs because you're going to have more than one of your position on it, so you can learn from an expert on that. Okay.
All right. Okay. So you learn how to schedule on this monstrously huge project. You're building a couple. Did you say $2 billion?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're building $2 billion worth of fertilizer plant in Iowa. Fascinating to me. Yeah. And I do remember this project, by the way. It was a big deal for Iowa. But anyway, okay. So you do this, you schedule all this stuff, and then what?
Then that was the only project that company had in the United States.
Yeah.
So I saw the writing on the wall. My tank farm was getting done. There was nowhere for me to go. So I abandoned ship and went to Kiewit.
You made a strategic move, is what you're saying, a strategic business move to find gainful employment elsewhere. What year? About what year would this be?
That would have been 2015.
Okay. All right. So we make a move in 2015 to Kiewit. Yeah. And where did that send you?
That sent me out to the East Coast to Maryland, and I did a $4 billion LNG facility out there.
Okay. $4 billion liquid natural gas facility in Maryland. Oh. Wow. Okay, so were you actually in Maryland doing this, or okay? All right.
Yep, I traveled out there. I was on site full time. I had what we called the tie-in section, so it wasn't a greenfield facility. It was an import only, but at that time, we could gather gas in the Northeast and bring it to that facility, liquefy it, and ship it to Europe, and they could make a ton of money.
Yeah.
So we made it an export facility.
Ooh, hold on a second. 2015, isn't that about the time Russia invaded Crimea?
I don't know. I know that's about when Brexit happened.
Yeah. So, gosh, I think that's right. It seems like it, because didn't that create the huge market for liquid natural gas from the United States getting shipped in via tanker into the European Union.
Right.
Right. So otherwise, why buy liquefied natural gas from the United States when you can just get it pumped in via, the pipelines?
Correct.
But it was, okay. All right. So keep going. Okay. So you're doing however many billions of dollars worth of scheduling. All right.
Yeah. And then I do that. And we, again, had a large team on that, learned. So my first job, I didn't know it at the time, did not use best scheduling practices. We painted a pretty picture, but it really wasn't useful.
Okay.
And it would not have stood up in court. And
how does a schedule help me out here? Okay, so you got to understand. In my career, doing the design side of things, I have, other than academia, I have no experience scheduling a project.
Yep.
Okay, I just don't. All right. Well, so how does a schedule stand up in court? What's that even mean?
One, you need to tell the true story of what happened on the job site.
Okay.
One example I had, use this in class, is we had a job that a scheduler wasn't really involved in, and we had a deck collapse. When we were pouring the decks, it failed. The superintendent was running the schedule at the time. He just actualized it and said that deck was poured. It was technically, it just needed to be re-poured.
From a certain point of view, I guess that was right. It was poured.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had to fix it. It was about 15 days to fix it and re-pour it.
Mm-hmm.
He just made the decks after that take a little bit longer and just actualized them before they actually happened.
Okay. By actualized, do you mean he billed for them?
I don't know about billing, but he marked it down in the schedule that it was done.
Okay. All right.
And then eventually they caught up and it was on time. That would happen like on the 35th floor. By like the 45th, it was all kind of
back on schedule,
back online.
Okay.
So later, like 2 years later, after the project's done, we are fighting to get some time and money for that collapse from our concrete guys. Well, we have a scheduling forensic guy come in and look at the schedule. And he goes, well, technically, looking at the schedule, this collapse sped up your schedule by 2 weeks.
Oh,
because he didn't put that impact into the schedule.
He didn't impact the schedule with it. Oh gosh.
So
you're trying to collect on it, and your own guy is like, no, you can't prove that you got it delayed at all on this.
Correct. So that was
forensic scheduling. That is a fascinating one to me, because I know one other of our students that actually does this for a law firm.
Right.
Forensic scheduling, getting into the who delayed who, how long were they delayed, what caused it, who's responsible for it, and then who owes who money for it.
Right.
I mean, that's essentially what forensic scheduling is, right?
Correct.
Okay. It's fascinating to me, but your own guys like, let's be quiet before they.
Right. And
okay.
So just that means having a good schedule. And that's the first job I was on did not do that. We just kind of put stuff where we painted a pretty picture is what we did. We kept saying that the project was going to finish on time. That, I don't know if you remember the news back then, that project ended up finishing a year late.
Yeah, I remember this.
But the whole time we just said it was going to finish on time. And then it comes to finish the project. And they're like, you're a month away from finishing. And we're like, more like a year away from finishing.
Oh my.
So,
well, wait a minute, but that one was hold on a second. Didn't the owner of the plant actually own the construction company too?
Yes.
Okay, so who's getting mad at who here? I don't know.
I mean, the farmers that want to buy fertilizer from them that we promised fertilizer to is probably getting a little upset about it, but that is, that company bought that owned the fertilizer plant, also bought the construction company.
Bought the construction company. Yes, I remember all this. Yeah.
Also, their main pipe rack sunk by like 8 inches at the end. So when they loaded them up, so.
Oops.
Yeah.
Wait, you mean like sunk down foundations just went?
Correct.
8 inches, huh?
Yeah. Oops. It's not the ideal situation.
Didn't include the weight of the liquid.
Something like that, the soil content. Like, it was kind of a swampland, marshland anyway.
Okay.
So it probably wasn't the best.
Okay.
Should have probably oversized the footings there.
Okay. All right. Good solid heads up for later.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't build a fertilizer plant in the swamp. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So you see the writing on the wall, and now you're like, okay, you move to Kiewit. Kiewit, you're like, okay, let's do this more exact, right?
Yeah, and they have a very good training program.
Yeah?
They actually send most of their schedulers through like Kansas City or Omaha, and they do a bunch of proposal schedules. So you're cranking out, I bet I was cranking out 4 or 5 proposal schedules a week.
Okay.
Just all the jobs we're bidding, we're putting schedules together. And then after that, I got my call up to the majors and went out to that $4 billion fertilizer or liquid natural gas facility. I did the tie-in. So we took the headers from the tanks and went to the new import-export side. So we added new headers to that, which is an outage. So it's an hour-by-hour schedule. I was there at 4 in the morning, update by 6 a.m., and then I was doing another update at 6 p.m. So we were updating because everything was hour by hour. We ran into a major issue with there was liquid natural gas in the tank, and we had to cut the header off. Well,
that's an issue.
So you put a big balloon into the pipe, blow it up so it can't come back. Well, there was debris in that pipe, so you couldn't get a tight
good seal.
Yeah. So what we had to do is like blast it back, cut for like 15, 20 minutes, stop cutting, blast it back, cut for 15, 20 minutes, and keep doing that process.
Oh, get out of here. This sounds sketchy.
Yeah.
You're literally cutting on a pipe that may or may not have some liquid natural gas leaking into it. And then you're like, 15 minutes, let's just check.
Yep.
And, look, let's.
I mean, we had plenty of sensors. It was all very safe.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That sounds.
So yeah, that was like the first project or the first part of that outage, and we were already behind by like a day and a half of just cutting that pipe because that's not what we expected.
Okay.
And yeah, so I honed in my scheduling skills really on that, and then after that project, I went and did a power plant, a coal power plant out in Wyoming. We put scrubbers into that coal power plant.
Okay.
And then after that, I finally came to JE Dunn, and I've been working with JE Dunn ever since.
Okay, so when you went to JE Dunn, is that when you went to Austin? Texas?
No. I actually went back to the East Coast.
Really? Where at?
The like Dulles Airport area.
Oh, okay.
We built a data center out there.
Okay. You and everybody else, man. Like half the alumni I talk to, they're either building a data center or the next project's going to be a data center.
It is a very lucrative business right now.
It's a lucrative business. Okay. And there's a lot of big projects. All right. So you build a data center in Dallas?
Dulles Airport.
I'm sorry. Dulles. Okay.
Yeah.
East Coast. You're in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
Dulles Airport.
And then after that, I moved to Austin and became we had a big tech campus down in Austin. So I went and did that. And then from there, I moved up to the manager position.
Okay. All right. So scheduling manager, the scheduling head Bubba. I mean, you're in Texas, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's the head Bubba scheduler, right?
Correct.
Okay. So you oversee a team of schedulers?
Correct.
Okay. And well, gosh, now that you're the senior old man, right?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, come on. I mean, come on. You got manager in your title. That's got to be a little bit.
I don't have senior manager though.
Oh, so okay.
Maybe next year I can come back with the senior. Yeah.
Well, if you do, then you got to have gray hair.
I might not have any hair at that point.
I might not have any hair at that point. All right. So, so how big of a team of schedulers are you overseeing right now?
Right now, I have 3 schedulers underneath me that report up to me.
Okay. So help me out here because this is something, okay, now remember back, this has been a minute, but remember back to Connie 241 and all the, I'm harping on documentation, and then I harp on it in 352, and then I harp on it in Capstone. Talk about how important it is, for your job is scheduling and you're checking these other people's work, the junior guys are giving, doing work and giving it to you, and I don't know how important is all this? I mean, it's got to be. I mean, it's got to be it, right? That's the only thing that matters.
Yes, it's documentation, and having that documentation is one of the most important things we do. And we're almost like a risk management department and a scheduling department. We try to balance, the plan to build the project, but also telling the story of what happened, so we are mitigating our risk.
Okay. All right. So you're managing risk by knowing where you're at, what you thought you were going to do by this point, and comparing it to what you're actually doing. So normally I think of scheduling as something that happens like way ahead of time.
It does.
Right. But you're also talking about updating constantly.
Correct. So we make the plan to start with. We call it like the baseline plan when we go in for GMP, and then nothing ever goes to plan. So you have to make a change, and you have to update it and see where you're going. You always have those trade partners that are troublesome, and so you try to get them back on track and see how you can resequence.
That is such a nice way to say that. Trade partners that are troublesome.
Yeah.
You're basically saying you're hiring slackers as subcontractors.
Or we don't. Yeah. They buy a schedule that sometimes they cannot perform to because they want the project.
They want the project. Okay.
It tends to happen in underground. I always try to, for all my projects, I try to stick weeks in there at the end of every project or at the end of every activity of like, hey, underground never goes as smoothly as we think, so let's add more time to it. And everybody's like, no, we can definitely do this whole section in a week. And I'm like, looks more like 2 weeks. The last 10 projects we did, it was 3 weeks. So let me put 2 weeks in there, and then you'll only be a week late.
Okay.
So, yeah, we try to manage that risk and make sure that we can move forward with the project.
Okay. All right. So you're here right now speaking at scheduling class here. The hold on a second. 441 scheduling.
Sure.
Right. Or 4410 now, right? Something like that, because they added the zero.
I have no idea.
Okay. All right. You're here for scheduling class.
Yeah.
All right. So what are you teaching them?
Kind of what we talked about. Talk about what happens. We did 4 scenarios. So a good schedule that finishes late, a good schedule that finishes on time, a bad schedule that finishes late, and a bad schedule that finishes on time.
Wait a minute. What's a bad schedule that finishes on time? I'm quite confused.
Bad schedule is the one that won't hold up in court. So
okay. So you didn't really keep track of squat. You just got lucky. Is
correct.
that it?
That is exactly it.
All right. So ooh, this is fascinating to me. You can have a bad schedule that finishes on time.
Yep. Like you said, you can get lucky and get it done. And it happens more often than I would like to admit, because when that happens, everybody's like, see, we don't need a scheduling department. We got
it done anyway.
Yeah.
We just got to do what we got to do. That attitude's got to drive you a little crazy, right?
It does. We're getting better about it. We're really pushing scheduling and that risk management, because we are seeing, like you said, more mega projects with more sophisticated clients.
Talk about that for a second. Okay. That cause it just seems like, let's go back to that fertilizer plant at the time. That was a monstrous project. I mean, that was like hushed tones in Iowa. Was like they're spending $2 billion in some cornfield in Iowa. It's like, no way. I mean, nowadays, does anybody bat an eye when you say it's $1 billion?
I mean, yes, but no.
It's getting pretty common. I mean, look at all the multi-billion-dollar projects just in Texas.
Right. We have, I think the project that we have out in El Paso is right at that number, $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
We have one north of Austin that's $1 billion. We have, I think, one over in Houston that's $1 billion.
What are these? Are they all data centers?
Yeah, we have a couple data centers. There's a couple big hospitals that we have.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah, but $1 billion hospital is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. It'll be like a 4-year project hospital. So
yeah.
Kind of like, I mean, Iowa City has one that they're thinking about building. Also, I heard it's on hold, but.
Is it crossing the $1 billion threshold, the Iowa City?
I would assume that it's close.
Probably close. All right. What goes into, help me out here. So have you scheduled any of these, you yourself?
Not I have helped, but not been in the weeds with them.
All right.
I help since I was mission critical for a couple projects, a couple years. If they cannot find somebody, I usually step up and try to help them out and get stuff going again. Okay. There's some turnover there, so we just try to help that out.
All right. So, like, what's the procedure there at JE Dunn? To come up with the schedule, you need labor hours, you need material, equipment. Are you guys also doing the estimate, or is like another department do the estimate and then just hand that off to you when they're like, okay, I got this many cubic yards of concrete, this many pounds of rebar, and this is how many labor hours I think it will take? Or are you doing that where you're like, all right, I got quantities to labor hours to schedule is all you?
No, we have an estimating department that gives that to us, and then I typically look at the drawings not as much as I should, but I sit down with the superintendents and the PMs, and we really go through the schedule and build it out together, because I found when I build it on my own, I do okay, but I don't have the buy-in from the superintendents or the PMs that are actually going to be on the job.
Okay.
So I tend to sit down with them and say, how are we going to build this? Are we going to build this north to south, east to west? Just what is your idea? And so we just sat down. I did Austin Airport. We didn't get the job, but we talked about doing like this new entryway for this airport. And I thought we would want to start from where the cars are exiting and moving towards where they're coming in. Mm-hmm. That way, nobody would enter our job site while we're fixing it, because it'd just be blocked off on that end. Sat down with the superintendent, and he's like, nope, we're going this way. And I, took it and built the schedule that way. And at the end, I, asked him, I was like, why would we build it that way? And he had thought it out. It wasn't just like random, I'm going to build this east to west. It was, no, we need to build it west to east because of these reasons. And just having that knowledge of, logistics and all that stuff that I didn't think about is just what turns a good scheduler into a great scheduler, of having that knowledge of construction and logistics and like actually being able to process that.
Well, and also be able to talk to the people. I mean, this sounds like a lot more talking and discussing than just sitting there in a cubicle by yourself.
Yeah, that's why I'm good at it.
Oh, okay. There you are.
I love talking. Right. That's why I'm here, right?
That's why you're here. Okay, we're Connies. We are social people. We talk.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is, like I said, since I have not done scheduling, and I'll be honest, that was like one of my least favorite Connie classes of the whole thing. I was just, oh my Lord, I just don't want to do this. So how did this just fall into you, or were you like, when you were graduating and leaving here, you're like, I really like this, I want to do this? How did this come up? How'd you end up being like the head Bubba scheduler,
So going back a little bit again, before you had gray hair.
Yeah, before I had gray hair. Thank you.
I was graduating. I had 2 sort of job offers. Both of them fell through as I was graduating.
Well, it was 2013.
Yeah.
And for those, like, if students are watching this, let's say someone that's in my 241 class right now, they probably don't understand what those days were like.
Yeah.
Because after 2008, we had 2009, 2010, those were pretty lean years job offer wise.
Yeah.
We had students that had jobs that got rescinded after graduation, or maybe even before graduation, actually, a couple of them. And there weren't, these days, goodness gracious, like, let's just go back to the career fair. You weren't here for the career fair, right?
No.
Okay. Well, we had, let's say that we have 240 total students in construction engineering. I bet at the career fair, at least 120 companies were hiring.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, a lot of them are hiring for more than one person. We have more jobs than we have students.
Right.
So the idea of not having multiple choices is a little foreign to some of our students right now.
Yeah. That's good for them, I guess.
It's great for them. No, it is. It's great for them. But the time you were going into the industry was a very different time.
Right. We still had a 98% placement rating, and I was the one. I think there's 2 of us that didn't have jobs at graduation.
Oh, that is so brave to admit. That is so brave.
I did have an offer that I could have taken.
Yeah.
They offered me 36 maybe 38,000.
Really?
Yeah, that was.
Ouch.
So I was
Was
like,
that for the DOT or something?
oh no, it was some small company, and I was just
Okay.
like, I went to college for 4 years I could go, work somewhere else and make that without a college degree. So I'm not going to
Yeah,
accept
you're
it.
not going to take that. Good
And
call.
I got lucky. Again, I'm going to harp on this later, I think.
Yeah.
But making relationships at Iowa State is probably the number one thing you can do here.
No way. Are you saying that's important? Oh my gosh. Somebody should tell students that in class.
They should.
They should.
One of my friends that
Yeah.
graduated a year before me, Cole, he was working at the
Cole Quallen?
No.
Oh, which other Cole?
No, you said that and I
Oh.
forgot his last name. Why can't I think of that? Anyway.
Okay. No, that's okay. Trust me. I understand.
He was working at the fertilizer plant.
Yeah.
And he called me up and said, hey, we need a junior scheduler. And I literally remember talking to him on the phone going, what the heck is a scheduler? And he goes,
obviously scheduling wasn't your favorite class either.
No. And he just goes, don't worry about it. It's an entry-level position. It's just like a PE. Come down and interview and get this job.
Okay.
So I drove down there.
So relationships to the rescue. Go ahead.
Yeah. I drove down there, interviewed. They pretty much offered me a job right there in the interview.
Nice.
They had a tornado coming through, so they're like,
tornado coming through.
Yeah, they said, get the heck out of here. By the time you get home, you'll have a job offer in your email. And I went home, got a very nice job offer, and accepted it and started working like the next week.
Oh wow, wow.
So it all worked out.
So Connie relationships to the rescue. Okay.
Yeah, and that's not the only time it saved me. So.
Oh, all right. Well, did you want to talk about the other ones?
The whole reason I'm at JE Dunn is another Connie relationship.
Yeah. Okay. Hit me with it. I'm curious.
I was done working at the power plant in Wyoming.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my buddy Jake, and he worked in Denver for JE Dunn, and our national scheduling director is out of Denver, and he goes, you're a scheduler? Then I know. I play poker with the national scheduling director here. Why don't you just come down from Wyoming to Denver and interview with him? So I drove down one Wednesday and had lunch with him, and he's like, yeah, we need you. Like, are you willing to travel? And I was like, yeah, I'm willing to do anything. I've been traveling the last 5 years. Why wouldn't I?
I'm in Wyoming.
Yeah.
I was just in Maryland, so I'll move a little.
So they grabbed me, snatched me up, and sent me out east, and then I've been working with Dunn ever since.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So.
Okay. So it's almost like you're saying that the relationships that you build while you're a student in construction engineering actually matter later in life.
Yeah. I wish I would have listened more when I was in school about that. I got really lucky with my relationships.
I wish I would have listened more.
Yeah.
No, it's perfect because now I can just tell you that you should have.
Yeah.
So this works out better.
The only other thing that not the only other thing, hopefully,
okay.
that I remember that you taught me.
Oh, gosh. Oh, the only other thing
is, I don't even remember what class it was. You probably could tell me.
Yeah.
I think I had like a summer internship, and I was coming in, and we were talking about, and I said, we put down cement. And
oh, gosh, yeah.
You corrected me and let me know the difference between concrete and cement. And I still flinch every time I say cement because of that.
Because of that?
Yeah.
I bet that was 241. I literally bet that because I just had that. I just said that again like last week when I was doing the concrete lecture.
So,
it's like how not to look like a noob on the job site. Do not say cement if it's concrete.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no such thing as wet cement.
Yeah, so I've remembered that.
You've remembered that. If I got nothing else, but you remembered that. I'll call that a win. Okay. You know what? If 12 years later you can literally still recall things I told you, I'm going to call that a win. That's good.
I think I could take you right to the seat that I was sitting in when you told me that. So it's ingrained.
That's awesome. Seat's probably still there. It's probably the same chair.
Yeah.
Probably the same chair. No, I think we did get different chairs. I think we got different chairs since then.
I think it was classroom 322.
Yep, it was 322. I still teach in that room. The desks are the same, but they've had to replace the chairs, I think.
Okay.
There you go. That's the only thing different in town engineering between now and then is we replace some chairs. Yeah. You'll notice it still looks drastically the same.
Yeah. We got new fresh paint when I walk in.
That's true. That's true. We got some new paint, couple of wallpaper kind of things to dress it up a little bit.
Oh.
There you are. Wait, hold on. Oh, no, I know the big difference between you when you were here and now. We have one handicapped accessible bathroom.
Oh, wow.
Yep, there you are. There it goes. Until JE Dunn builds us the new JE Dunn Town Engineering expansion.
Have
you heard of this?
No.
Huh? Oh, okay. Well, go on third floor. There across from the elevator, there's a little model of the addition that is being planned right now.
All right.
Okay, you can go check it out. We need about $30 million. Okay. So now that you're in management functions at JE Dunn, maybe you could swing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have that much pull. But I can see what I can do.
All right. Well, we'd appreciate it. We could use a few new rooms. That'd be good. All right. Other than that, yeah, I bet the same tables are the same. It's there's a lot that's still the same from when you took it. All right. So help me out here then, since we're talking about that. Tell me some of the things from the program that have served you well in industry. What did you do in college that you're like, oh yeah, I really used this now that I'm here? If there's anything, I don't know. I'm putting you on the spot. I didn't tell you to ask you that question.
Really, I often think about it, and it's like going back. I wish I wasn't that active in student orgs.
Yeah.
So I wish I would have been more active in student orgs.
I want everyone to know I did not pay him to say that. Okay, but that is true. No, that is super true. Is that being active in the student orgs? I mean, that literally follows you through. I can't stress enough how important it is being active in student organizations. The phrase I believe is, you can learn a lot here at Iowa State. Some of it happens in a classroom.
That's very true.
But a lot of it is being active in the student orgs and the experiences that you get there.
And those relationships, I would say, once you leave, you have a lot of relationships while you're here on campus, but right. You're going to leave and some of those relationships are going to fall off. I would say check in. You don't need to ask for stuff. You don't need to just check in, see how they're doing, what they're doing, what kind of projects they're on, and just keep those relationships going. So if you do need to ask somebody for something, or hey, can you get me a job interview? It's not just like, oh, I haven't talked to you for 10 years. Now can I get a job interview with your company?
You know what though? I do like LinkedIn for that purpose.
Yep.
I think it is really handy to just, even if I don't respond, I see what other people are doing, where they're at, what they're doing in their career. I always find that interesting. And, occasionally I'll put something up, with regards to a podcast or going to MCA competition or just, something that we're doing. Like I posted here a couple weeks ago about our MEP industry night, and lots of people, they may not comment, but you can tell who's looking at it and who's, giving it a thumbs up or something. I mean, it's just nice to be able to see what other people that professionally are doing. I would wholeheartedly agree with that is nice, and it's a good idea. It's a good idea to keep track of where people are at. I can think of like tomorrow. I'm doing another one of these podcasts with someone that was that graduated the same year I did. Okay. And we haven't kept. I've seen her a few times over the years. She's taught, or she's been, she's got a PhD here at civil engineering, and she got her undergraduate in civil engineering. But just periodically, just checking in occasionally, it's nice to see what people are doing.
Right.
And what I think that is an important thing, that the sooner students learn this, the better.
Right.
Like you said, you never know when you might just need, now that I think about it, after my first job, every job after that was always relationships.
Yeah. It comes in very handy.
Oh, not just, it's not just handy. It's really the way to get another job after you graduate.
So, one of the schedulers that works for me in Austin, he was a police officer for 8 years, and then
that seems like an odd job change.
Well, yes, I can explain more if you.
Okay, no, that's it.
It just when you move as a police officer, you don't get to take your retirement, and you lose all your years of service. So he needed to move.
Right.
So he was going to lose all his years of service. He's like, what if I have to move again? I don't want to lose all my years of service. I'm going to go into construction. He ended up going and getting a construction management degree.
Okay.
His professor is connected with somebody that works with JE Dunn, and just on his behalf reached out and said, hey, would you be willing to hire this guy?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, let's, like, she reached out to me. We did an interview. I liked him, and we got him onboarded, and he's been working for us for about 6 months now.
You know, in our industry, there is nothing else compares to the personal reference from someone else you know.
Right.
Nothing does. You know, that's the gold standard in our particular industry. If someone says, hey, Brandon, you should check this guy out, you're like, well, I know this person. I know what they're like. And I know they probably would not ask if it wasn't for somebody that they thought was pretty stand up.
Right.
You know?
And nowadays, I don't know if you've ran into this with other people, but we have people on LinkedIn saying they've worked at JE Dunn in JE Dunn scheduling, and they've never worked there.
No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So
got to watch out for the phonies, huh?
Yeah. So we
check those references.
Yeah. We've been doing a lot of recruiting, looking for people, and I bet 3 or 4 have popped up that have never worked for JE Dunn scheduling, and they pop up as a scheduler. And like even one of them, Clark Construction, they had it listed as Clark's with an S at the end. It's like, you can't even get the name right. Like,
can't even get the name right. Oh my gosh. That's like if you're going to cheat, at least be creative.
Yeah. So, and that's where I think a lot of people are going to that personal reference of like, hey, who is this actually a good person, or are they just bullshitting their way through a resume?
Oh yeah. 100%. I mean, I've had, over the years, I've had a lot of people call me to check references. You know, students, put me down and whatever. And I had one that was really funny. It was a design firm, guys that I had worked with over the years, both not just, I mean, professionally before I came here to teach,
right.
So let's just say I've known them a lot of years. Anyway, the owner of the company calls me up. He's like, hey, Brad, so-and-so applied here, and oddly enough, they did not list you as a reference. It was for a mechanical design position. He goes, they didn't list you as a reference. So what do you got to say about this particular student? And I was like, well, Tom, I would tell you that I will verify that they were a student of mine, and anything more than that, I'm going to refer you to the office of the registrar. And he's like, you have nothing else to say? Said, I will refer you to the office of the registrar, but they are definitely a student of mine, And he goes, okay. Who do you want to tell me about? I was like, oh, well, let me tell you about some of my some of my seniors. And, I'm like, on and on and on. And the personal part of that is the, he knows me well enough that if he's asking me about a student that I would recommend, I will wholeheartedly recommend.
Right.
I just probably talk too much about him. I'm always trying to pitch students to that guy. He's in Des Moines,
Right.
But I absolutely see that, people trying to claim they worked for, especially a big company like JE Dunn. It'd be almost easy. Would it be? Maybe it's not almost easy, to say that, hey, I worked there, and it's such a monstrously huge company. How would you ever know?
As a PM or a superintendent, you probably could. But schedulers, right now, we're the biggest our department's ever been, and we're at 40 for the entire company.
Oh, so you're like, you know everybody then.
Yeah, from when I started in 2018 to now, I might not have known them personally, but I know their names if I see it pop up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's a good point. I guess the long and the short of that is, man, check references.
Yeah.
Check references. It does matter. It does matter. We had a friend of mine was teaching at University of Northern Iowa, and this is years ago. This is more than, it's probably 15 years ago. And he was asking me, he goes, hey, this so-and-so guy applied here, and he says he's taught at Iowa State. What do you have to say about him, in construction? And I was like, I have nothing to say, but I'll refer you to the office of him. He's like, really? That's all you have to say? I'm like, yep, that's all I got. But it definitely does that personal positive, hey, go check this person out. That is such a big deal. Right. So like that's how I got here at Iowa State do you remember Chuck Jaron?
Yep.
Okay. I saw him at a parents event for like a rock climbing wall for the Boy Scouts. My kids were little, they were there climbing rocks. His kids were little, they were climbing rocks. He's like, hey, what are you doing? What are you up to these days? And I told him, he's like, hey, could you come teach mechanical? It was just a total, not a job I was planning on, nothing I had planned on. He just talked to me about it one day, got me at the right day, and I was like, I am going to change. Yeah, let's make a change. But before that, it was at the consulting firm I was at. The guy that I met on the first day of class talked me into moving there. So it's just fascinating. It's just all these different relationships. Once you get to a certain point in this industry, I firmly believe that the most precious commodity that you have is your reputation,
right?
And the people that you know, and that after that, resumes don't really matter as much as relationships do.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. Like, I think HR has our numbers, but I think like 55% of the people we hire come from references. So,
oh, wow.
So it's up there of, we hire a lot of referred people, but I mean, we still take, people.
Yeah, you still take. So are you part of that interviewing process at all with like our interns and stuff, or full-time hires or anything?
For scheduling, I would be.
Okay. All right.
Depending on where they want to be.
Okay.
But like generally no. Like I went to do A&M recruiting, and I did a bunch of interviews with them to see if we could get a scheduling intern.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not like super high up where I can just hire people, but I do have a say in some of it.
So what are you looking for? Like, one of our Iowa State students is looking, because you guys hire a lot of Iowa Staters.
I do.
Okay. So what are you looking for schedulers? I mean, do they have to be engineers, or do you prefer that they're engineers, or what are you looking for, I guess?
Really, it's a culture fit and like those personal skills of being able to talk to people. We can teach the technical side and the construction side. Like that's this police officer that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
He came in with, a degree. He is pretty much, he had life experience but no construction experience.
Okay.
And a lot of our executives were like, he doesn't have any construction experience. We need somebody. And I was like, he can talk to anybody. He was a police officer. He's good. He can talk to people. He can get the information he needs. So I ended up selling him on him. And now 6 months later, everybody's trying to steal him from the scheduling department. They want, hey, you want to become a PM? Oh, hey, you want to become a superintendent? I'm like, no, yeah. I did the work. He's going to stay in scheduling.
Hands off.
Yeah, and he's happy as a scheduler. So okay. That's great. But that's the kind of stuff I look for, is making sure that they have those skills, that they can talk to people, that they're not going to like be a roadmap or a doormat and get ran over. We want them to be able to talk and, challenge when needed, but also be able to take direction.
Okay. All right. So communication skills, way more important than things like GPA or anything like that.
To me, I had a really low GPA here. I don't know if you remember.
I'm not gonna cast any stones here.
So
right, but yeah, I do remember your GPA was not exactly crushing it.
No, it was not.
Yeah, it wasn't.
So
yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Nobody, I wouldn't say. Okay, I'm not gonna say that nobody cares about your GPA, but it's down the list a bit.
Yeah, right.
It's down the list. It's way behind communication skills, problem solving, the ability to figure things out, to self-teach. I mean, it's way after all those things.
Yeah, the ability to problem solve and like self-thinking is insanely rare these days.
You know, so I gained a big appreciation for our students. A couple years ago, 2 years ago, I had to teach, relationships, right? So the guy that was the head of the Arizona State University construction management program was an instructor and got his PhD from Iowa State, Connie. And, you know, we'd known each other for years. I really wanted them to hire him. But for whatever reason, he went elsewhere. Okay. He went to Kiewit University kind of stuff for a long time. You might have known him, Tim Becker?
I do know him.
Yeah. Okay. There. See, relationships, right? So Tim calls me up and he's like, hey, Brad, it's like 2.5 weeks until classes start. He goes, I just learned that my mechanical guy is not available this fall. He just took over as an interim head of their construction management. He goes, I am in deep trouble. You know, could you step into this role and do this distance ed? You know, he'd already talked to our professor in charge, and I'm like, yeah, I probably can. I don't have any time though to change the class. You know, the Connie 352, the mechanical class. I don't have any time to change it. And he goes, that's fine. You know, it doesn't have any calculus in it, right? And I'm like, well, no. You know, well, teach it like you normally would. Okay. Two things. It's very different doing it online. You know, trying to do a distance ed like that. That was less than awesome. It was almost a flashback to COVID, which I do not want to repeat.
You're right.
But also the difference between the construction management students and our construction engineering students, I gained a whole new appreciation for. I really did. The problem solving part that our students are forced to figure out, you know, drop them in and give them problems. And it's like, hey, you got to self-teach. You got to figure this out. You got to learn. That is an important skill. And I did not appreciate the difference going into that. I think because I did not appreciate the difference, that I was probably more demanding than, no, I know I was more demanding with regards to grades and assignments and everything, and you know, the written work and the exams than they were truly prepared for. Let's just put it that way.
Now you got me thinking.
Yeah.
We have a lot of construction management people that work for JE Dunn.
Right.
And we also, in scheduling, for some reason, we get a lot of people with marketing degrees that want to be schedulers, construction schedulers.
Yeah.
And
that seems like an odd fit.
But I think these marketing guys and gals have that problem solving skill too. They got to figure it out. They don't.
Okay.
And I think
so it works. You're saying it works pretty good.
Yeah, it just clicked with me that, like, when you said that, I was like, yeah, these construction management guys, they're kind of giving it to them. I guess.
Yeah. Like it's very by the numbers. You know, it's like, okay, you learn this, you regurgitate this. Yeah. The problem solving isn't necessarily part of the curriculum as much,
right,
as maybe others. You know, definitely not as much as our engineering. But we have the advantage in engineering, in that, you know, your average construction engineering class has what, 30 students in it, 40 students in it. You know, the construction management class, each one of those, I had 2 classes. Each one of them had like 70 or 80 in it.
Yeah. When I go to A&M and guest lecture there, it's a lecture hall of like 100 kids.
Right, and you teach differently when you're teaching a big group like that. You can't do the essay exams like I like to do. You can't do really complicated group projects because that's just too complicated to do on a large scale.
Right.
I mean, here's what 20 years of teaching here is. You know, I've learned a thing or two, not a lot, but a thing or two. And it's easier to be a better teacher with a smaller class size.
Yeah.
I know that's shocking. I am really cutting edge stuff here, you know.
Well, even the guest lecture in the scheduling class today here, I think every student in that class either gave an answer to a question I asked or asked me a question. Like, they were all involved. I can't do that when I go to a 100-person lecture. I can't make them answer questions.
No, you can't. You can't even really on a 100-person lecture. It's hard to engage past the first 5 3 rows of students.
Yeah.
You know, when I've on the rare times I've had to teach over 100 students, I just know it's like, okay, the first 3 rows, they're probably really getting it. Rows 4 and 5 and 6, yeah, you know, they're getting most of it. You go more than that deep and it just tapers off, and it's just hard to keep people engaged back, you know, in a bigger room.
So that's why you're telling me I got a low GPA when I was here. I kept sitting in the back.
Sitting in the back. It's
sat in the
like,
front.
yeah. I hate to tell you this, but yeah, that's actually a real thing. Did you know that?
I did not. Maybe I should come back.
100%. You should. You know what? You know, you could step into class Wednesday.
I think JE Dunn has some
you got
plans
some
for me
plans
on
for
Wednesday.
you? Okay. Well, you know, hey, we got a master's program. Maybe you should come back for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Texas State has asked me to do that.
Yeah.
They actually wanted me to be a professor down there.
No way.
Part-time.
Part-time?
And I just...
That's awesome.
And then they found out that I don't have my master's, and they're like, well, go get your master's and come back. I'm like, you're the one that offered me this job.
I know. That's funny. Oh, my gosh. So when I started teaching here, when Chuck convinced me to come teach here, I didn't have a master's degree. You know, I had a professional engineering license, but I didn't have a master's degree. I told Chuck that. I was like, hey, are you sure? You know, I'm like, I don't have a master's degree or anything. He goes, no, you've got a professional engineering license in the area that we need help in. So we can look the other way for that. You know, I was like, okay, awesome. So I started teaching, and then, of course, it was part-time, which quickly morphed into full-time. So be careful of that. When a university asks you to teach part-time, they're really scoping you out for full-time. But anyway, so it morphed into full-time in like 3 semesters. By 3 semesters in, I was teaching full-time. And then our new department chair at the time, he goes, you know, Brett, we would really like it if you would get your master's degree. I'm like, why? I don't want it. You know, it's like, yeah, you need to go ahead and get it. So I did it like one class at a time the whole way through until I got done. It took, gosh, I think it took 5 years, 4 years for sure. 4 years for sure to get it. So it was annoying.
Yeah. They were all on it. And then I was like,
and then
they're like, why don't you come to Texas State and get your master's, and then we'll give you, and I'm like, I feel
you're
like this is a scam here. You want me to
scam? This is a scam.
I don't need a master's. Like,
yeah. What do I need that master's for anyway? You know, what would they even have you do? Cause here, let me tell you what will happen. You'd end up taking a bunch of these construction classes that you could be teaching, you know, and then you've got to sit there and take it and pay for it. You know, so true story. So, I don't know if you remember this about me, but before I came to Iowa State, I was in the United States Navy, and I was a nuclear reactor operator on a submarine. Okay. So during my master's, the last master's class that I took was on nuclear engineering. They were, you know, starting this new nuke class, you know, to start up a nuclear engineering minor. You know, so one of the professors I knew, and I had taken classes from him when I was an undergraduate. He's a great guy, Dr. Maxwell. He has me, you know, he's like, hey, you should take this class I'm teaching, you know, this new class. And I'm like, okay, sure. You know, and I'm sitting there taking the class, and it's just funny. He's never actually even been to a nuclear power plant, and he's teaching the class. And here I've operated a nuclear reactor, and I'm sitting in the back taking notes and taking the class. And it's just, yeah, you know, it's just like, wow, okay. He's missing some stuff, but he's doing a good job. You know, he's really good. But the difference, I think the difference is that I'm sitting here going, and he's kind of, you know, he's throwing out all these different concepts, and he doesn't really explain to the student which one of these is the most important for actually making this reactor work. You know, and I'm like, and he's very academic in nature, which he should be, right? But then I'm more of a practicing in nature, and I'm like, okay, that is way more important than this part. And you know, it's just very, very different, the perspective.
We have in scheduling, we have like PSPs and certain certifications you can go get.
Yeah.
And I see the same thing there. Like, these people will go get all these certifications, and then
Yeah.
they'll interview, and I'll be like, okay, pull up P6. Hey, run this. Run me a filter. Do this. Show me the next 6 weeks in the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I go, I'm like, you have all these
certifications. What good are they?
Yeah, you can't run, like, get in there and actually do it. You know the theory behind it, but you can't do the work. And like, that's not gonna. As much as I love him, that's not going to work with a superintendent. He's going to kick you right out of that room.
Gosh, yeah. The field is fairly unforgiving.
Yeah.
I understand that. All right, so here, give me some, like, what have you, like, big lessons? What have you learned over all these 12 years since you've graduated, right?
Yeah.
If you're talking, let's say that some students that are just took your scheduling class and they're getting ready to graduate, maybe they're getting ready to come work for a JE Dunn or a Kiewit or, any of these other big companies. What kind of things did you learn along the way that you kind of wish you would have known as a...
You touched on a few of them earlier. Build your brand. From day one, you're building your brand. So if you are the guy that is always 10 minutes late to a meeting or coming into that is your brand, and it's going to be hard to get rid of.
It is going to be hard. Oh my gosh. In Connie 241, just last week, right? We're only a few weeks into the semester, and already one of the groups is talking to me about firing one of their teammates, and I'm like, and what am I going to say? Because they weren't at lab last week. And I'm like, hey, where's your teammate number 3? They're like, we don't know. He doesn't show up to a lot of stuff. I'm like, he doesn't? I'm like, what do you mean? So we're talking, and I'm like, all right. So I emailed him, said, hey, can you come in and meet with me? And I didn't hear anything. And, I told them, I'm like, well, if it doesn't change in short order, yeah, you can just go ahead and fire him. Mm-hmm. But that is such a terrible way to start that brand.
Right.
Because if you get that as a label, you're one of the ones that nobody wants to work with, or you were fired in 241.
Right.
Okay, that's going to stick with you.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. And even then, at the very least, you're going to have to do a whole lot of good work to overcome that particular stigma.
Correct.
One
thing that I hate about that is dress. I don't dress the best. And that hurt me as moving up. Like scheduler 1 and 2 didn't really affect me that much because I could do good work. But then once you become, manager and in those leadership roles, they're like, we actually want somebody that looks decent and dressed
the part.
Can't wear, flat bill hats anymore. Can't do
no.
So.
Oh no. All right. So you're saying you got to actually look the part.
Yeah. Dress the part you want, not the part.
Not where you're at, but where you want to be.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's good stuff to know. What else?
One thing I wish I would have done earlier is read more books and not, like self-help books.
Oh, okay.
I read 2 this beginning of this year that like really changed my life.
Which ones?
Atomic Habits.
Okay.
It's all about like habit forming and how you manage your habits and how to change your life. It's amazing. And then also Never Split the Difference. It's a negotiation book.
Yeah.
You can use it in your everyday life. It's also very life changing. Just seeing everything as a negotiation, right? And you don't have to be hard nosed about it, but it's very interesting in that book.
No, you know what? That's actually probably one that students should be reading before getting that first job. Yeah. So many of them are like terrified of the idea of negotiating. It's like, hey, Mr. Perkins, I got this offer, and I'm like, okay, well, let's review it, right? Where do you think it's at? Do you think it's fair? Whatever. And then I'm like, okay, well, if, why don't you ask for, like, let's say, okay, they gave you a job offer. It's not even at the career fair yet, but yet it's below the Connie average. What do you think about that? Maybe you should negotiate. And they're like, can you do that? I'm like, this is business. You for sure can.
Yeah.
Okay, now, will a company negotiate with you? Maybe not. Maybe they're a big enough company that they're like, we got to have pretty same, starting point for everybody.
Right.
Okay, or maybe they can. I'm like, but you're not going to lose anything trying.
Right.
You know, you should negotiate, I think. But anyway, that's always my advice to a student.
Yeah, you don't have a new student graduating probably doesn't have obviously as much leverage that I do.
Oh, for sure, not as much as you, but they don't have zero leverage either.
Right, correct.
You know, these are good days for them.
Yeah.
I mean, and people are paying top dollar. And, you know, the thing that always absolutely just drives me crazy is when, you know, companies are offering, you know, they're like, well, we're looking for top talent, but we're going to pay below average. You know, it's like, yeah, no. You know, these guys busted their butt and spent a lot of money getting an engineering degree, and that should be worth something.
100%.
You know,
like I said, I had an offer for like $38,000.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. You got to know when to say no.
Yeah, and I think about that often. If I would have taken that,
that would have fixed your income the rest of your life. Right. You'd have been it would have been hard pressed to get to the same point.
Or I would have been, you know, content, not happy, but content with that.
Learn to live with it.
And I wouldn't have, you know, pushed the envelope and gone. One other thing we're talking about, you know, advice to students. Your internship is a very fixed time, right?
Right.
So you can go and try out, you know, scheduling, VDC, safety, quality. Try out something other than superintendent or PM roles.
Oh, for sure, right? And not just that, right? I always encourage them, try something different, try some place different.
Yeah.
You know, try this. An internship is the perfect time to shop around for the company, for the city, for what you're doing. You know, if you're ever going to try, if you're ever going to try design, or if you're ever going to try, you know, like working for a subcontractor or whatever it is, man, that's the perfect time to try something a little bit different.
I mean, if you got freshmen getting internships, 100% you should go and get something wacky, job that you're like, I'll never like this, but it's 3 months. You might hate it, but you learn that you hate it, and that's very valuable.
Or you learn you do love it, and then it's like, holy cow, maybe that changes your career path.
Right.
I think that's a solid idea.
I didn't have a traditional internships when I was here. I worked labor every summer.
Oh yeah.
So I worked on a dirt work crew for one summer.
Okay.
I did some concrete crew for one summer. So that's why I get along with the superintendents, because I can talk that shop with them. So
having at least one summer where you either turn a wrench, push a broom, swing a hammer, right? Something is a very, very valuable thing, I think.
Yeah.
You know, strongly recommended. But anyway, I don't know. We can give all the advice we want.
I know when I was in the student, I wasn't listening to it. So.
Yeah, no way. No way. Yeah. That is true.
Because I'm sure 100 people told me I needed to read more books and drink less and all that fun stuff, and I didn't listen. So.
You know what though? See, that's why it's the youth. You know, you can do silly things and then recover from it, right? At some point, you grow up.
Yeah.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with trying some different things. Okay. What else? Anything else? Anything else for the students out there?
Think about retirement early.
You know what? There is something I did not do well, for sure.
So a little bit more about my history.
Sure.
When I got that job at the fertilizer plant, I was one of the top. I went from not having a job to almost the top paid graduate of that year, of that class.
Oh, wow. So, well, those guys were paying good because they were hiring like crazy. And
we were getting crazy per diem for living in Southeast Iowa. So,
oh, yeah.
So it was great. Couple months in, all my friends, everybody I graduated with, they're buying new trucks, boats, all this fun stuff. And I'm like, I have no money in my bank. Like, how are these guys going and having money to do all this stuff? So I started budgeting and looking at my budget. Well, at the time, I really liked going to the bars. And
sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing.
Oh, no, I've laughed about it many times. Right. Anyway, I was spending $3,000 a month.
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
So that's where all my money was going.
That's okay.
So that was very eye-opening. It was great because, again, if I wouldn't have noticed that, I would have been content and kept on going with it.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I saw that and I was like, that's where I need to change. That's, a mortgage. That's,
That's a more, especially for 13 years ago, man.
Yeah.
I was like, that'd have been a kick butt house.
So I stopped that and started budgeting and read like The Millionaire Next Door and all those and like Dave Ramsey's book and started planning for retirement. And now I'm seeing the dividends from that.
That's awesome. That's awesome because two major mistakes that I made is, so when I was, started out in the military, I was in for a few years and then I was injured and now I'm out, but obviously no retirement there, so here I am. By the time I graduated Iowa State, let me think here. I was a non-traditional student. I didn't come here until I was 21, which probably did not help the finances either.
Right.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? All right. Then graduate Iowa State by 26 years old and nothing saved for retirement. Did okay, the normal traditional 401k stuff, but, we did, probably a really bad, retirement move for me was actually taking this job, because let's just say I'm not earning what I would have been earning in industry.
Right.
Okay. That's fair. All right. And, we had 5 kids and it just, there's always stuff to spend money on. And I put away for retirement. But one of the things I did not appreciate is how important it is what company you choose to work for because of different company schemes on company ownership.
Yep.
Some of them are a scam.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say which one, but one of the ones that I was working at is that they would offer you a bonus, but at the end of the year, then they would turn around and offer you stock that was usually more than your bonus. Company stock that could not be publicly traded.
Right.
Okay. And the only one that you could sell said company stock to was the company. So, like if the two of us were stockholders, and I wanted to cash in some stock to help pay for my kids' college, I could not sell it to you. I could only sell it to the company. Now, here's what I did not appreciate: how much of a handcuff that was. Because now what would happen is, let's say 10 years on down the road, I want to go work for a competing company. And I'm like, all right, I'm taking this other job. And they're like, oh yeah, you're working for another company. Okay. They determine what the stock price is. So let's say that on January 1 of that year, I had bought company stock for $100 a share. And then let's say July 1, I decide to change companies. Now they're like, okay, today a share of company stock is worth $25. Like, wait a minute, I've been buying it for all these years for, this much, and it's been going up. They're like, okay, that may be, but today it's worth $25 and you can't sell it to anybody else. It's like, that's not such a great partial retirement plan.
No, does not sound like
and that would be one of my suggestions to students is you really got to understand the ownership structure of the company you're going to work for. I did not appreciate how important that was.
Yeah. So JE Dunn has a ESOP. Mm-hmm. We have a third party that dictates our stock price.
And they can't fiddle with it in the middle of the year?
Yeah. So it's the same price all year round.
No way. That's
and
a thing.
It's been very nice.
Yeah.
I think around the 10-year mark, your ESOP starts making you like almost more money than your salary does.
Really?
Yeah. It's insane.
Really?
Yeah. So it's the company's been growing. It's been insane.
Yep.
So it's great.
Let's see here. I hear there's, let's see here, in the last 20 years, I bet you I've gotten, like most employees, probably gotten a 1% or less raise half the years. I think that's right.
Maybe in the summers you come work for JE Dunn.
No, man. In the summers, I work for all kinds of other people.
Oh, okay.
I do engineering, modeling. You know, I do expert witness stuff. I do all sorts of stuff. So I mean, yeah, so don't feel sorry for me. I mean, I know the deal when I took the job.
Right.
It's just, you know, sometimes, you know, because I look at like one of my friends from college. He took a job at it doesn't matter. Let's just say it's one of the top 5 largest construction companies in the world. They would be a competitor of yours. Let's just say we're in very different financial places.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he bought a house in San Francisco in in the late 90s. He could probably turn around and sell that for more than I've made in my life. Easily, actually, probably very easily. Yeah. You know, so but that's awesome for him, you know, different choices. And I'm not gonna complain about it, because in the last years, you know, like just before this podcast, you know, after my class, but before this started at 5, you know, I was like, you know what, I'm going to run home, because one of my daughters just bought a new horse, and I'm going to go home and watch her working with it for, you know, an hour or so, just because, you know, I'm not punching a time clock. I'm not on anybody's schedule. So that's I'm not trading that, and I wouldn't trade the last 20 years of that for any, you know, stock portfolio.
Right.
So.
And that's what I talked about that in my class too. I really am an advocate for knowing your priorities and making sure your job lines up with your priorities.
Otherwise, you are just building up pain.
Yeah. And that's actually, I'm very impressed with the students. Every time I ask that question, hey, what are your priorities when you look at a job offer? Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're scared or what, but they never say salary. They never say compensation. They're always like, oh, benefits, you know, PTO, all that stuff. And then eventually I get salary out of them. And then I'm like, all right,
good.
Let's talk about it.
That means they're paying attention. That's good.
But yeah, it's not all about salary. It is very important.
It's very important. You're right. Because that's the deal, right? You sell time and somebody pays you for it.
Right.
That's the deal. We're all in.
I mean, I didn't use this example this year, but I used it last semester when I was like, I could probably offer, you know, Renee $1 million to go work in Africa a year. And she's going to turn it down because it doesn't work with her work-life balance and her family. Like, she's just not going to do it. It's not a possibility. Yeah, she could go make a ton of money with that offer, but it's just not in the realm of possibility. Exactly.
And
you'd probably be the same way, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, and you know what's funny is here years ago, you know, the whole relationship thing we were talking about. One of the architects that I worked with in industry, and then while I'm teaching here, he was teaching a class in the College of Design, and we kind of co-taught a class. So I knew him from industry. He was an architect that designed some schools that I designed the mechanical system for. So I've known him for a long time. And then he ends up becoming the director of, at the time, it was the Iowa Energy Center. Okay. And then then he gets promoted to the head of this, I want to call it a consortium, because they had facilities sort of associated with DMAC and Iowa State and the state. And anyway, so they had multiple buildings. And the Iowa Energy Center on the DMAC campus, they needed a new director since he moved up. And he's like, Brad, we'd like you to interview for this job. And I'm like, no, I don't think I'd be a good fit. He goes, but we really want you to interview. I'm like, not a good idea. You know, we're like arguing. He's like, you should interview. I'm like, no, I shouldn't. So he goes, just interview for me. Just do it as a favor. You know, I'm like, okay. It was the weirdest job interview ever. They spend 2 hours telling me why I should take the job, and I spend 2 hours telling them why I'm a bad idea to take the job. You know, but I mean, you know, it was that work-life balance. You know, it's like I wouldn't be teaching anymore, but I'd still be kind of a part of Iowa State. You know, and I'm like, I really like teaching part, right. and I'm close to home, and I can coach all my kids' soccer games and basketball games and stuff like that. You know, I'm like, I got that. Like you said, I got that priority, that work-life balance. I got the one I want.
Right.
And this is not helping, you know, and I'm like, And here's why I'd be bad at this job. And I was like listing all the reasons why I'd be bad at it. It's so funny. This team of 3 guys is like, well, let me tell you why you should take the job. And he's like arguing with me. I'm like, this is so weird. I mean, how many times I got to tell you I'm a bad fit, but then they're telling me I would be a good fit. But, obviously I did not take the job, and I'm glad. I still enjoy doing what I'm doing, and it seems to be a good fit.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's good advice to the students, find a good fit.
Yeah. I mean, if you can travel also, like with all the data center work going on, you can travel and make a ton of money.
Oh, you can.
But again, that's not for everybody. I traveled my first 7 years.
You know what though? If you're going to do it, you should do it while you're that age.
Right.
That is a great time. Oh my gosh. One of my classmates in Connie, we both went to work at Black & Veatch. I took a job doing design work in Kansas City. He took a job with a construction management wing. And I think the first 3 or 4 years, I think he was in Thailand. Anyway, he was able to live all year off of his per diem.
Right.
Like he had a house with servants.
Right.
He banked 100% of his first year's base paycheck.
Right.
Because he was over that, the number of days when you're tax codes probably changed, but back then, if you were out of the country for a certain number of days, you didn't have to pay federal income tax on your pay.
Right.
I hated him. I was like, oh God, he's like, yeah, I just put away my whole first year's paycheck, but he had to learn a foreign language and move countries. So yes, if you're ever going to get that done though, when you're young is a great time to do it.
Yeah. We have there's a construction company that does embassies overseas.
Yeah.
And they have a crazy pay scale, and it's the same thing. You don't pay any federal taxes because you're out of the country, or you're not in country. I think it's 100 days.
Yeah.
You have to be in the United States 100 days before you have to pay. So you're out of country more than that, and they give you per diem. Like you said, you get a house. Like the guy that I talked to, he has a house with servants. He pays her, I think, $50 a week, and she cooks all of his meals and cleans his whole house. He spends like 2 hours a day at his house.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah. Well, he's only spending 2 hours a day at his house.
Yeah.
That means he's at work the rest of the time.
So it's
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and if you're ever going to get that stuff out of your system, just to do it, man, when you're young, do it.
Right.
Right. If it interests you. Yeah. But don't sit back. Here's the worst thing. Don't sit back and someday wonder, gosh, I wonder what that would have been like.
Right.
You got to figure those things out. And then you can find your work-life balance that you can, get old and gray hair with.
Right.
Yeah. I need to see you in like 10 years so that you have gray hair and I can make fun of you.
That's fine.
Okay. All right.
My dad is just now getting gray hair, so
I
think I got a while.
You got a while?
He lost his hair at 18 too, just like me. So if I'm following,
you're saying there's a precedent there.
Yeah.
That is fair though. If you lose the hair at 18, that would be fair not to get gray hair early.
Yeah,
that's fair. Okay,
it's an easy trade-off.
Easy trade-off. All right.
I had a buddy talking about like traveling and stuff. He did that. He went to Russia. He's a lot older than me, but I met him when I was at Kiewit. He went to Russia and worked for 2 years, and he ended up banking $1 million in 2 years. Like not earning $1 million, banking $1 million. And it's just like, but he was over there working oil rigs in Russia, and he had a deal where it was 30 days on, 30 days off. But if you worked your 30 days off, you got double time the whole time. So he would work like 6 months in a row and then take a month off, and then work 6 months in a row and take a month off. So he was getting double time,
for that whole time,
like 5 months a year.
5 months. Jeez. Okay.
So
all right.
He was pretty proud of himself, and I was like, I would be too.
Right, but you know what? You can have a pretty good month off if you're banking a couple million.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. All right. So, any other last thoughts, words of wisdom to pass on to the students? How do they know how would they even know that scheduling might be for them?
Take that internship. Get an internship in scheduling. See what it's like. We offer what we call at JE Dunn IPS, Integrated Project Solutions, and it's like our quality department, our BIM department, scheduling, safety, and we do like a co-op. So we'll take you for the summer, and like 3 weeks you'll be in scheduling, 3 weeks you'll be in quality, 3 weeks you'll be in safety.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And then you can kind of test all of them out in one summer and see if one of those fancy.
Well, if it's a co-op, it's a summer plus a semester.
Yeah.
Okay. I think co-ops are a great idea.
So you can test them all out in one shot.
One shot.
And then if you like any of them, you can come back and just do a full-time, internship for that. Or you can say, nope, I want to go PM super route and go do those.
Okay. All right. I like that. That's a great idea.
So.
Okay. Anything else here?
I think that's it.
No, that's it. All right. That's enough words of wisdom for one day.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Brandon, I'm going to thank you for coming in and chatting with me for the last hour or so. Lots of words of wisdom here for those that stuck around and listened to it all. Give me a little bit. I'll get this edited and put on the podcast. So that will wrap it up for another episode of the Office Hours podcast with Professor Brad Perkins. Thank you all for attending, and thanks to our guest for showing up.